ACH Payments in CenterPoint allows you to electronically transfer payments to payees. ACH Payments require setting up the bank information for you as the payer and for the vendor as the payee. The vendor's information is set up under Setup, Names, and we're going to edit a name that we want to identify the ACH details and select the ACH Payments tab. It's required that a standard entry class is identified. We'll first want to activate the ACH transactions that we want to do ACH on this particular name, and then we're going to select the standard entry class. The options are PPD, CCD, and CTX. PPD is pre-authorized pay deposits for credits and debits that process against consumer accounts for entries such as payments to vendors and direct deposits. CCD are corporate credit or debit for credit and debit entries processed against non-consumer accounts for transactions such as payments to vendors and collections from customers. And CTX are corporate trade exchange to facilitate business-to-business transfer of funds, either as debits or credits. We're going to select PPD for this vendor. And then in the transaction code, we need to identify the type of entry that should be included in the ACH file for this particular name. And your choices are a checking account, either checking or pre-note, and I'll tell you what a pre-note is in a second, a savings account or a pre-note savings, and a loan account, which is a line of credit, or a pre-note. The pre-note options all are to be used as a pre-notification. A file is created with $0 and given to the bank, and that allows the bank to validate the routing number and account numbers for both the payer's account, which is yours, and the payee's account routing number and bank account number. Once that is validated, then this option will automatically switch. If we chose a checking pre-note and we did the pre-note, ACH pre-note, this would automatically flip to checking account so that the next activity that would be done, the file would be marked as a checking account. It would be a live file that would include the actual dollars that you are intending to pay to this particular vendor. After we make our option of which transaction code, then we need to fill in the bank routing number. And the bank routing number will be a 9-digit number. It's the first 8 digits, and the 9 digits is a check number that allows CenterPoint to validate that it is a valid ABA number. And then the bank account number for this particular vendor's bank account number. If this is not a valid ABA number, routing number, then it will give you a message and before it saves that. So now once that we have the ACH payment information on this particular vendor, your information is set up under accounts and editing your cash account that you're using to pay the payee, and under the ACH direct deposit. And you would have to identify your information, bank information, for doing this ACH transfer. Now if we do a payment and we select this vendor that we've identified that we want to do an ACH transfer, our print button down at the bottom is changed to an ACH, adding to an ACH file. If we click that button, the option of Add ACH File is identified. The printer is no longer active because we won't be printing. From here, we're going to be adding to an ACH file. But what you might also have selected on that name is to do an email of the pay advice to that particular person, so that when the ACH file is actually processed, then it would also send an email to the vendor indicating that he was paid. And after you add these different transactions to the ACH, you'll be processing them under Processes, ACH Files, and Create ACH File. And this is also the menu where you would create the pre-note. But we have another session that will go through how to do this process of creating your ACH files.